Hello, and welcome back to Fem Life. Do not forget to subscribe to the channel. 2 lucky winners get to spend 1 hour on video chat with me. In the dim light of the costume party, my breath caught in my throat as I felt a pair of eyes bearing down on me. I glanced up, my heart thudding wildly, and came face to face with him. My best friend, Michael. He looked me up and down, his expression unreadable, before he spoke. "You know," he began slowly, his voice low and dangerous, "I never would have guessed that you were a boy." I forced a laugh, trying to play it off. "Oh, come on, Mikey. Everyone knows I'm the life of the party." My voice sounded higher and more feminine than usual, even to my own ears. "Besides," I added, gesturing to my outfit, "it's not like this getup is fooling anyone." But the look in his eye told me otherwise. He knew. He had figured it out. And now I was trapped, caught in a web of my own making. I couldn't confess the truth, I couldn't tell him why I had done it. Because if I did, it would ruin everything. It would change everything between us. So, I did the only thing I could think of. I smiled, forced a laugh, and changed the subject. "So, what do you think of this year's costume theme?" I asked, gesturing around us at the crowd of people, all dressed as their favorite fictional characters. "Aren't we all just masters of disguise tonight?" Michael didn't reply. Instead, he took a step closer to me, his eyes never leaving mine. "I think," he said, his voice barely above a whisper, "that you're the best disguise of all." And then, before I could even react, he leaned in and kissed me, hard and unapologetic. My heart skipped a beat as his lips pressed against mine, as his hands found their way to my hips. I could feel the warmth of his body, the strength of his arms. For a moment, I allowed myself to forget who I was and why I was here. But then, as if a cold splash of water had been thrown in my face, I remembered. And I knew that there was no going back. I pulled away from the kiss, my breath coming out in ragged gasps. "Michael," I whispered, "we can't do this." His eyes searched mine, his expression pleading. "You don't understand," I continued, my voice barely audible over the music. "This isn't what I want. This isn't me." He looked confused for a moment, and then understanding seemed to dawn on his face. "You're not," he began, but I cut him off. "No," I said, shaking my head. "I'm not who you think I am." I took a step back, putting some distance between us. "I'm sorry if I led you on, but I can't do this. Not tonight, not like this." His face flushed with anger, and for a moment I thought he was going to lash out. But then he seemed to regain control, stepping back with a sigh. "I see," he said, his voice tight. "I guess I misunderstood." He looked away, down at the floor, and when he spoke again, his voice was barely more than a whisper. I thought you might want this, too." I felt a pang of guilt, but I knew I couldn't change what had happened. I couldn't risk everything by getting involved with him. "Michael, I'm sorry," I said softly, my voice wavering. "But this isn't who I am." "Not really." He nodded, seeming to accept my words. "Yeah," he said, his voice distant. "I guess I understand." And then, without another word, he turned and walked away, disappearing into the crowd. I stood there for a moment longer, watching him go, feeling a strange mixture of relief and regret wash over me. I knew that things between us would never be the same. I had made my choice, and there was no going back. As the party continued around me, I forced a smile, trying to pretend that everything was normal. But deep down, I knew that it would be a lie that I would have to live with for a long time to come.